What's up, everyone? Welcome to People Good, a podcast where we host bite-sized conversations on the future of work life, discussions on the convergence of people, culture, and cause at the workplace. This show is specifically aimed at providing HR professionals and leaders practical insights and tools to level up how they protect and empower their people. If that's you, stick around. This is your show. And I'm your host, Braven Greenelsh, founder and CEO at 3 Good. On today's show, we have Tony Prudhomme. Tony's career has covered a broad waterfront of functional disciplines in several industries, including leadership at Dole Foods. For the last decade, he has been focused on supporting early-stage companies such as Beyond Meat, Beautycounter, and his current company, SunFed Ranch, where he serves as COO, CFO. SunFed Ranch is a leader in the sustainable grass-fed beef industry, managing the value chain from ranch to retail. Because they're a leader in grass-fed beef, they've produced healthier, tastier beef from a fully sustainable, regenerative supply chain. And they even help rural American ranchers and communities to live better. Kudos, SunFed Ranch, and welcome, Tony.
Thanks, Braven. Good to be here.
Why are you currently at SunFed?
Well, I came to SunFed because there was I saw a mission for beef to be reinvented. The current beef supply chain is quite destructive to the environment, but it also has, in many cases, a fairly devastating impact on rural America and ranchers in rural America. And there was a better way to do it, to kind of reinvent the model of supplying beef that's healthier, sustainable, and provides a societal good. So it really spoke to me, and I joined forces with the founders of SunFed.
That's great. That's great. So obviously values and CSR mean something to you. So why are you so sold on sustainability as part of business?
Well, I tend to group firms into two main archetypes. The first, which is more traditional, is extractive in nature. They are extracting value from some previously established good, like nature for minerals and attributes, from society, et cetera. So there's extractive industries. And on the other side, there's regenerative industries or firms. Those provide value to the environment, society, et cetera. And CSR is the fundamental DNA of a regenerative system. And in the long term, business models should be valued and viewed on their ability to continue. And extractive models are finite and ultimately doomed, whereas regenerative models are just a superior way to operate a business. And CSR is, again, the DNA of a regenerative model.
I'm learning stuff already. This is great. So let's kind of explore that a little bit more. What does that mean for the future of businesses, and how if it's a superior business model, because it's actually intrinsically giving back and building upon the planet, where do you think companies are with that in general? Is this something that companies are just now establishing, or is this the future?
It's really interesting, and I see the flows of large pools of capital and how the pools of capital are kind of pointing to the future. There are a number of companies that have been, big companies that have been built in an extractive model that need to reinvent themselves. But what I'm seeing even more so is there's a new group of companies that are coming to life across a great span of industries, for-profit, not-for-profit, a variety of firms, and they are hardwiring mission and values into their reason to exist. So it's beyond something that they do. It's actually who they are. And those companies are the ones that are really leading the way. I think for established companies, they basically have to rewire themselves to make it part of who they are in order to be sustainable, and ultimately that will dictate their long-term economics.
Yeah, that's so good. So, yeah, I was reading the other day that companies that focus on that not only are connecting to this desire for 85% of the workforce, employees looking for new employers, because that's what they want. They want some kind of CSR connectivity, but it also shows them some of the most profitable companies in the last 20 years have been CSR focused in terms of intrinsically part of the ethos of who they are.
Yeah,
That's really
that's
cool.
only it's only going to continue. The capital is going to go there. The employees and talents are going to go there. It is the future.
So, I mean, we talked a little bit about sustainability and CSR and how that's a good business model to have. So, how does that apply to people, to employees?
Um, for me, the way that I look at it is that you cannot separate the mission from the firm. The firm needs to be the mission needs to be the firm, and you need to attract the talent to the team that deeply believes and aligns with your mission. If you get the right people, they understand that they aren't coming here just to spend some time and collect a paycheck, or whether they're volunteering, it doesn't matter. It's not a place for them to just come spend time. It's a place for them to come do something meaningful. That to me provides the greatest level of employee engagement. It provides a foundation for establishing true culture in a firm.
Yeah, that's so good. And like what we do at Three Good is connecting wellness challenges to help connect to a cause. That's something that someone asked me the other day is how does culture connect with cause? And I think you just answered it right there. And it not only does it help increase employee engagement, which is what the employee experience is what 90% of employees are looking for right now in an employer, but also it increases the overall culture and morale and productivity of the team at large. So that's really cool.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely.
So a couple things. Aside from video conferencing, what are some of the things you're doing at SunFed Ranch to keep employees connected during this time of crisis?
Yeah, what we are doing is really doubling down on our mission and why we exist. So we're fortunate in that our business during this COVID pandemic, our business is up because we're in the food supply chain for primarily for retail. And so we benefit also by having a fairly small team, but what we have done is basically focus them on how important their jobs are to and the work that they are doing, how important that is to the people out there that they serve. It's their customers, it's their consumers, it's the ranchers, it's the people that are counting on them to perform. And we are building muscles through this entire event. So it's a lot of hard work, but you are doing something that is needed, desperately needed by people, and your help is really impactful, and what you do is really impactful. And then we just keep the communication going. We have town halls every other week. We have a weekly sales meeting that now pretty much the whole team is on. And we just stay really hardwired to our mission. We celebrate all the wins, and just really keep the spirits up and the eye on the mission and the ball through this period.
So I've been hearing a lot about different thought leaders and people as I read things during this time about increasing communication 1,000% during this time. It's interesting that you're keying in on not only doing that, of course, but also leveling up on how much you align on the mission throughout that
Yeah.
communication, both externally with your product and internally with the team. That's a good one. Learnings for sure for our listeners. So 2-minute wrap. Give us a quick story about your best turnaround you've been involved in.
Well, I've been involved in a lot of business turnarounds that have been challenging and fun, but I got to tell you the ones that mean the most to me are the people turnarounds. relationships that I've had with people that have been turned around for the better. One that comes to mind is I had an administrative person that I worked with and hired. This is now many years ago. She seemed really bright, but not engaged, and I had a really candid, transparent, caring conversation that started with, "I'm about to fire you, and here's why." And that conversation turned into a complete turnaround in that person's behavior and engagement. They ended up becoming just an outstanding part of the team. And in fact, we became close friends. She went on to a really kick-ass career in commercial real estate. And I think about that and those types of relationships. Those are the most meaningful to me in terms of turnarounds when I think career.
Absolutely. That's so good. So investing in your people with
Yep.
caring candor. That's great.
That's right.
Okay. So let's wrap it up. Give us some tips and tricks. What are some websites or resources you use to make your superpowers better as you lead people at SunFed, or insightful book you've been reading lately?
Yeah, one that I think is just a must read for everybody is Radical Candor by Kim Scott. It's basically what I just described, my conversation with that employee. It's caring deeply for a person, caring deeply combined with really transparent honesty. And if you lock those two things up, you have, whether it's your personal life, your professional life, you have relationships that are built on bedrock. And it's the bedrock of honesty and care. It's a great book. A fun one is the book When by Daniel H. Pink. It's just a bunch of really simple life hacks that I use every day. It's the best time to do work in the time of day. It's the best time to drink coffee for your body. It's just a really fun series of life hacks.
Excellent. You heard it here first from Tony Prudhomme at People Good. Thank you, Tony, for being with us today. This has been really insightful for me, and likewise, hopefully, our listeners. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Braven.
Of course. That's our show for today, y'all. And as always, check out those books Tony mentioned. Go amp up that communication on your mission, both externally and internally. And we'll see you back for the next show with Tuck Ross, Senior Vice President of Marketing at Synchrony Bank.